Welcome back to another video, everybody. We have a lot to discuss in this one as we're getting towards the end of this pretty wild trading week that we have just witnessed. We're going to be talking about some of the economic data that was released today to give you guys a better idea of what to expect as it relates to the big picture of the broad market. And as always, we're going to be talking about some of your favorite names in this one: NEO, Palantir, Sofi, and HIMS, the most relevant pieces of news. And as always, the chart so that you guys can have a better understanding of what to expect in the short term. So before we get into all of that information, everybody, if you guys do enjoy the information and analysis I provide for you guys in these videos here, make sure you go down and hit that like button. Costs you nothing to do it, but it helps me out a whole lot in spreading these videos out to as many people who actually want to learn. And again, if you're not subscribed yet, make sure you guys are, and turn on notifications so you're notified every time these videos do end up going live. And as always, massive shout out to all of the members of my private trading and investing community, Less Trades, More Profits. I'm going to throw up some of the gain screenshots from just this week here, guys. They are absolutely insane. I don't know how many more times you guys need to see me hand out the absolute best trades in the market to this group, but for those of you guys that are still waiting to hop in there, again, you guys can get 50% off your first month with code July with the link down below. It's literally only $1 a day. You get access to all of the learning curriculum videos, the daily private live streams, the full watch list of stocks and cryptos that are about to explode before they do, the pre-market plans, the macro research reports, the single stock research reports. Guys, the amount of value there is absolutely insane. We'd love to have you in there. But without further ado, let's get into the contents of this video here. So the first thing that we received today is that weekly jobs report. So the U.S. jobless claims came in at 221,000 in the July 12 week, and they were estimated at 235,000. What this is effectively showing us is the amount of people that are filing for unemployment benefits from their state for the first time. So that came in lower than what the market was expecting, and so did continuing claims, which is those people that have initially filed for those benefits and continue to remain receiving those benefits over a period of time. Both of those numbers were lower than expected, which the market is obviously going to view positively because it can show us that the unemployment rate could be moving to the downside. Now, that's not going to help out with that rate cut thesis that a lot of people are hoping for in the near future, but overall, the market is going to view that as a positive development for the overall economy. And in addition to this, we also saw retail sales coming in above expectations as well. US June retail sales rise 0.6% month over month, and the estimated number there was 0.1% of an increase. So again, the overall consumer is still relatively strong, even in this very uncertain environment with a lot of these trade negotiations and these trade wars going on between the US and a lot of these other countries. We still have not necessarily seen the inflationary impact, but also the demand from consumers dropping just yet. Now, the last thing over here, again, we did receive a couple of comments from some Fed speakers today, and one of the most important ones here is that Fed's Daily was coming out and expecting 2 rate cuts this year, and they are looking at that as being the appropriate amount of cuts. Now, I want to talk very briefly here about the chart of the dollar too before we get into some of these individual names here, because as we've been talking about a lot in the live streams that I do every single day with you guys publicly on YouTube here, that this move up in the dollar here is starting to show the signs of a lot of that foreign money that was parked in the US that fled and basically got taken out of US markets in the first and second quarter of 2025 here is now starting to come back into the market, as showcased here by the strength of the dollar moving back to the upside. So it isn't anything significant yet, but if the dollar can get back above 100, 101, and you do start to see more demand for dollars versus these baskets of 6 other currencies here, well, that could mean that there is even more buying pressure that is about to come back into this market. Now let's get into this first individual name that I want to talk about with you guys in this video here, and that is NEO. There are some very interesting rumors kind of circulating about NEO right now that are really positive, and going along with everything that we want to see out of NEO moving forward if they are actually going to have success and turn things around and start delivering on some of these kind of promises and guidance that they have given to their investors over the last couple of years here. And just taking a look at this chart, again, NIO has gone almost vertical over the last week or so here. Really solid price action, going from about 350 all the way up to almost 450 this week here. This one is incredibly strong. And again, if we can get some daily candle closes above this red line here, this daily 200 exponential moving average, form a nice period of consolidation, you could end up getting that break even higher up into the $5 range. But again, there's a lot that needs to happen in the short term here in order for that to play out. But when looking at some of the news here as it relates to NIO, again, NIO said the updated version of the ET9 is expected to launch later this year, according to Ted Lee, the company's vice president of product management. Investor sentiment was also lifted by strong store traffic for the upcoming Onvo L90 SUV. Earlier this week, Morgan Stanley analysts estimated that NIO's new sub-brand had secured between 30,000 and 35,000 pre-orders for the L90 within its first 4 days of pre-launch. The company has not disclosed official figures or commented on the estimate. So when this new Onvo model came out, it was priced a little bit lower than what the market was expecting. And apparently, according to a lot of these analysts, that is driving a significant level of pre-orders much higher than what the overall market was expecting for this new model. But again, like what we've been talking about with NIO, Onvo and Firefly here, all of these new lower price models are what can easily push them into kind of the green here and make sure that they're able to generate some of these positive results for their shareholders in terms of hitting those profitability metrics that they have outlined that they want to hit by either the end of 2025 or the beginning of 2026. Now, moving on to the next name here, guys, that's going to be another retail favorite, Palantir, making new all-time highs today at $155 a share. Again, like I've talked about many times with this company here, it's very overvalued in the present here, but it's not one that you would ever want to go out in short. To me, it's also not one that you want to go out and buy. This is one that I was outlining for everybody on this channel, in the private community there, in the teens. So at this point, being up over 1,000% on this name, there really isn't much else to do with this one. And this is something and a lesson that many investors still need to learn, that you need to be very thesis driven in your investments once you're in them, but you want to make sure that you're getting the proper entries according to what the chart is telling you. When you start to see a lot of these names make very significant moves in the short term, like let's say many of these stocks that I get questions about all the time are going up over 100% in about a month and then come crashing back down, what happens a lot of the time is people are trying to buy them at those peaks, not realizing that they are becoming exit liquidity for everybody else that is getting out, who is able to enter that position at a more favorable price or valuation. Now, for Palantir here, again, this is one that the market has really started to love, and retail investors have been along with this one for a while. And even though it is overvalued in the present here, they are still doing everything that they need to do in order to grow their business. Their growth in the government side, the government contracting side, and the commercial side are growing significantly, and I do think that they are going to absolutely still have success in this environment here. And again, we did just see a new partnership today. Nightscope joins forces with Palantir to advance public safety, joins FedStart program to expand autonomous security in U.S. federal agencies. Again, yet another very positive partnership for Palantir. Now, moving on to the next one up on our list, guys, another very high flyer, a very strong performer for us, and that is Sofi here. Now, recently, if you guys saw on Twitter, I made some comments about Sofi here, and I'm saying that as of right now at $22 a share, this is not the time to be buying Sofi. Now, it's not time to sell it, obviously. This is one that I was getting long at $6.55 with the group, and also, over the last month and a half here, I also outlined on this YouTube channel here and in all of the live streams that I do that we had this awesome monster weekly breakout cooking if we could break this $13.60 area. So that was the entry point. If recently I outlined for you guys an entry point at $13.60, and now the stock is trading at $22, obviously I'm gonna like it a lot more where I was talking about it at $13.60 and not necessarily buying it at $22 after almost a near parabolic move going into the company's earnings. Now, that doesn't mean that this one is not going to have a significant amount of success. over a long period of time. But guys, you always have to think about the market in terms of probabilities and think about the different possibilities of what could happen next after a lot of these parabolic moves. Do you think that the stock is going to continue? Well, most retail investors would say yes, but you need even more positive news and positive catalysts in order to drive further price movements to the upside. Now, earnings coming up on Monday, July 28th could easily do that for SoFi, but with a name like this one that obviously has not necessarily been treated with the kind of respect in the marketplace that a lot of SoFi investors, including myself, have felt that it has deserved over the last couple of years here. Again, there is that risk going into earnings. Now, in addition here, SoFi did also engage here in this partnership here too with Paychex. Paychex and SoFi at work joined forces to expand financial well-being offerings here. Now, again, while this may not make or break SoFi, they are continuously doing things to drive their business forward, with those main things being the new crypto offerings that they are releasing, and also really doing everything that they need to in order to drive that user base growth to hit that 50 million goal over the next couple of years. So at this point, there really isn't a whole lot to do with anybody's SoFi positions. Now, if you're up a boatload of money and you personally decide that you want to trim the position, go for it. By all means, you are up a significant amount. But when you think about this chart here, again, with my entries at 655, that position is still looking absolutely phenomenal with the stock trading at 22. And also, for those of you guys that were a little bit later to this move, but took advantage of that weekly breakout that I outlined for you guys here at 1360, you guys are also still sitting in an unbelievable position as we go into the end of the month where SoFi is going to be reporting its earnings. Now, at this point, you want to be thesis driven. You guys should all have a very, very solid reasoning as to why you are in this position here. Now, for me, again, I think that they are going to be able to hit a lot of these user growth goals. They're going to continue to be able to offer more products to their existing customer base, and those new products can also help to grow their customer base as well. And I think they're going to be a big player in this marketplace and in this sector here. Now, if things start to go the other way, then that would be where I start to kind of think about maybe trimming or offloading all of this position, but that I don't think is coming anytime soon for SoFi. Now, the last one that I want to talk about here with you guys is HIMS. Now, this is again another one very similar, guys. I think we see a big trend with retail investors. This is one that I outlined for you guys between 30 to 31, ran up into the 60s. I was getting a lot of questions up in this area here as to whether or not you should be buying that name up at those elevated levels. Obviously, the answer was a resounding no. But now that we're looking at HIMS here and seeing this formation of this chart, if you are really, really itching to get into a HIMS position, or if you are looking to add to your position, if we can continue to consolidate and use this daily 10 exponential moving average here as a line of support and then come up and break about this 53.15 area here, that could be a good spot to get long. But again, this chart right here could really go either way, especially after that big gap down, after the news that Novo Nordisk was no longer going to be partnering up with HIMS here. And again, it is possible that we do see a drop down to this 200 exponential moving average on the daily time frame here. And if that does happen, if you really want to get into a HIMS position, you got to wait for a base and then a breakout of that base to the upside there. So guys, that is going to wrap up this video here. If you guys did enjoy the information and analysis that I provided for you guys in this video, make sure you go down and hit that like button. Costs you nothing to do it, but helps me out a whole lot in spreading this information out to as many people who actually want to learn. And again, for those of you guys that are hopping into the group here, welcome. You're making the right choice. We are going to get you guys fully on your way pretty quickly to getting into some of those positions that always have the potential to run multi-hundred and multi-thousand%. So guys, until next time, I will see you. Peace.